2.3.
Hey, welcome to our Friday Flex. This is Keith Joseph, and we are with the fourth part of our Friendship, the Art of Being a Friend series. So, excuse the delay. Hopefully, this talk is going to be a little deeper because we're going to go into the esoteric side of friendship, and also, just a couple other different. We're just gonna go for a ride. We're gonna go for a ride, and so anyway, hopefully your Friday's going well. We didn't flex on them. Flex. So one of the things too that I was thinking about is that with friendship there has to be accountability. With friend you have to be open to being accountable. And part of friendship means allowing yourself to be accountable and holding someone else accountable to call you out on your own, things. And so I thought that with any deep friendship, someone and you can kind of see maybe some shortcomings or some long comings and you can see and understand maybe what kind of difficulty your friend has, and you should be able to properly articulate, like, hey, I see this as something that may be giving you some, or holding you back in some areas in your life. And if I'm a real friend, then I'm going to say, hey, if you make a slight adjustment here, then you'll be much better. And you as a friend would be like, well, I know that he does know me, or she does know me, or they know me. And
if they're a friend, they better know me.
Yeah. And so then because of the connection of that relationship, you'll be open to hearing something that from someone else may be a little difficult to hear or to adjust to. And so I thought about this is that as we go from a spiritual perspective, friendship means holding that person accountable on a spiritual level. And it's like, hey, have you done your meditation? You done your prayer this morning? Because oftentimes we think that a friend is just going to allow for us to just be all willy-nilly with our life. But actually, a friend, and what to speak of a spiritual friend, is like, hey, how's your reading going? What
was the last thing you read today?
Yeah.
How is your, I'm going to use a quick word here, how is your bhajan? Meaning, how is your spiritual practice going? So forth like that. Are you getting enough rest? Are you eating enough? Are you eating properly? Like this. So, they should look out for you on a holistic aspect, not just this part of your life, but as you're saying, even spiritually as well.
It reminded me of the yoga verse from the Gita, where Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, one who eats too much, or eats too little, or sleeps too much, sleeps too little. For that person, it's very difficult to become self-realized because there's not adequate control of the senses,
right,
and one's mind, what to speak of, which is a part of the senses. So, as a friend, we are in a position of, hey, have you gotten more connected with your inner self? And then have you got connected with your higher self for higher learning? And so when we think of friendship, it should be on multiple levels. Because with friendship, yes, there's how's your family life doing? How is your job doing? But how's your soul doing? As you mentioned, we have to engage things or look at things on a molecular level.
Yes. Quick question.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure, just a housekeeping thing.
Wait a second.
If everyone can actually hear
I
us.
think, yeah, hold on. I think, can everybody hear? Okay, I think so.
Because I know my microphone is on. Ah, yes.
Yes, my microphone is on.
Can you hear me now?
You all hear us? Great, I think so. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Hi, my name is Joseph. Friday Flex.
So, okay, now, sometimes with technology, you sometimes forget, like, there's multiple things you have to do to make sure things are working properly. That's what friends do. You're like, hey, does this work? Can you hear me? Good, you know. But yeah, so you mentioned previously Solecular, which I think is a really nice way to combine cellular and soul. So like, you know. Anyway, so we're asking, or we're trying to make sure we're addressing all fronts of one's existence.
Yes.
Because that's what real friends do. Mm-hmm. That's what friends are for.
They're wholesome.
They're wholesome.
Meaning we look at a holistic approach. Again, just to recap, because I'm not quite sure if everyone heard everything, even though we started. But as you were rightly pointing out, we look at someone based on, hey, how is your family life coming along? How is things at work for you? How are things in terms of spiritually, you know, on a molecular level? How is everything going for you? Are you, and of course you quoted from the Gita, a yoga verse, sleeping too much, sleeping too little. In other words, is everything in life balanced? You know, so that way your senses are not agitated or disturbed in some way, shape, or form, so that you can perform at your peak in all aspects of your life. Again, family life, work life, spiritual life, etc. Or just even personal care, just your own health.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we see how someone may give so much of themselves in their family and their work and in their spiritual life, but then as a person, they're neglecting themselves in many ways. So we're just, in short, talking about as being a friend, holding each other accountable and actually looking out for each other on multiple fronts.
Right. And I think it's really important, too, that you mentioned that one should, of course, be able to, or let me make sure I understood it properly, be able to be balanced on multiple fronts, because this part of balance in life is necessary for peace of mind. Because when the life is not balanced, how can you have peace?
Yeah.
And so another thing that came to mind also is that when we are talking about holding each other accountable, it does not mean, and I learned this word in therapy, but enmeshment. Not what do we call it? Not emaciation, or what was the word?
I can't remember. I used to say this one word to you.
But
I used to mess with you. That's what I was doing. He would use this word, enmeshment, and so I would say emaciate, or
it was another one.
No, it was to
Emancipate.
Emancipate. That's the one. Emancipate.
So just really quickly. So emaciation. I'm sorry.
Enmeshment.
Enmeshment. Yes, enmeshment. So enmeshment is when you put yourself in someone else's place, in someone else's life. You impose yourself or superimpose yourself. You Photoshop yourself in someone else's life or their problem, and you make their problem your problem.
That's the problem.
It's a big problem. It's 99 problems. So,
and that better not be one.
Enmeshment is when we feel as if, or we act as if, what somebody's doing, what somebody's eating is going to hurt us.
Because we've got ourselves entangled in their mesh.
Yes.
enmeshment.
Yes, yes. I like what you did there. So it is. So there's a fine line, between holding someone accountable and also being in someone's business that doesn't concern you.
Yeah.
So without bringing up examples, I realized a certain question I was asking. I said, "Am I being enmeshed right now in his life, his personal life?" I said. So when I would ask him a question, and he would, just kind of, everything's all right, and not really answer. I said, okay, this is not my. I don't have access to this level of information. I don't have clearance, and so
Access denied. But there's also, really brief. We'll just talk about it super quick. So there's also certain levels of. See, I can't give away all like the.
You can't. I know. I know.
But we're just in an educational perspective.
Okay.
How about that?
Good,
so
let's do
so
that.
It's like two different people, right?
Yeah, right.
Bert, Ernie. And so sometimes when there are individuals that are working on things together, then there is a level of confidentiality that has to be maintained and protected as well. And so in order to maintain that confidentiality, you can't be like a colander and just be leaking stuff out all over the place. So there has to be some aspect of that, maintain that confidentiality. So then there's only so much that one can give, or so in certain unique things, Otherwise it becomes like as they say in Sanskrit, Rasa basa. Mommy! Rasa basa meaning when there's two things that are mixing together that shouldn't be put together a certain way. It has, just like, we'll leave that one alone for the time being. But it's like when you and your friends are hanging out, you don't want your mom or your dad standing there, like if you, like we hear about, sometimes you may see on TV growing up, how the daughter is going on her first date. But then somewhere in the scene, you see the dad shows up at the restaurant, peeking around the corner, trying to see what's going on. And he has his gun right there with him because he doesn't know about what that guy is going to do, kind of a thing. Yeah. So how when you have those two dynamics coming together, it creates a mixing of things where things aren't able to flow and grow and be organic. So that's what is, in short, a rasa basa. Two things like when you have milk and then you have something that's sour like orange juice or lemon juice, and if you mix those two together, it's going to get a curdling of the milk. Right. That's called rasa basa. So, you don't want that stuff to mix like that.
So I had to realize, I said, I am thinking.
Not stiff arm.
No. Very nicely. Very nicely. Just mind your business. That's all. Just mind your business. So that's what I was getting, just, in a very indirect way. So I said, you know what, this is not my pony. This is not my show. This is his pony and his show. So I don't need to know. And so I realized that with friendship, you always have to monitor yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because sometimes, even though we think we may be doing what's best for the relationship, sometimes certain elements are not within our jurisdiction of knowing. So I remember with this one client, I had to write. They said before you get any more information, you have to sign this NDA. So you can't disclose anything, non-disclosure agreement. Right. And so I was like, wow, must be a big thing. But friendship is like that. Friendship is, sometimes, and a lot of times NDA, because some information you don't want people to know.
Depends.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah, depending on what it is. Yeah.
So I had to acknowledge that I was falling under in the traps of being enmeshed. And but as I mentioned earlier, friendship means accountability also. And as we go a little deeper into the non-secular aspect or the spiritual aspect of friendship, we must understand that we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
And so there are certain areas within our life that if we do not acknowledge, they will, just like if there's a certain muscle group that you don't work on, it's just like people that just train on arms and they got little stick legs. You know?
Can't be a legend without leg day.
So there's also areas in our spiritual life or in our complete existence in which if we're only addressing the physical aspect of ourselves but not the metaphysical aspect or the spiritual aspect of ourselves, how can we expect to be well-rounded?
Yeah.
You know, we'll just be just kind of disproportionate.
Mm-hmm. That's a good word.
And so with acknowledging that spiritual side of us and accepting that spiritual side, because most people do not feel home here. Most people feel like a fish out of water. I was just talking to my wife and it was like, we were watching all these shows about conspiracies, and she was like, you know, this world is just a really messed up place. And it's like, this world is meant to let us know that this is not home.
That's very true.
And so, as friends, we must also help each other remember, hey, this is not home. What have you done to phone home today?
Don't you do it. Hey, I used to tear up them Reese's Pieces, man, from that movie.
Yeah.
Elliot.
So when we are operating on with the understanding that, oh, we're just this body made up of chemicals, then we're not living to our fullest potential, because we know within ourselves that we're not just a bag of chemicals, you know, just walking around.
Well, like being just a bag of chemicals, just walking around. Yeah, I'm a bag of chemicals.
So
I'm sorry. We joke a lot, actually, so we do apologize. But being very serious, we're more than just a bag of chemicals, but we are that spiritual being. As you rightly pointed out, we're a spiritual being having a human experience.
We're operating this bag of chemicals, you know. So, and it is, so in friendship, this level of accountability is very serious. Because anybody that can confront you in a very loving, very kind way and say, hey,
you're messing up.
you messed up.
You messed up.
and give you tips as to, hey, maybe if you try this a little differently, maybe you'll have a different outcome. Yeah. Or maybe, there's so many different ways that we can
properly deliver a message.
Yeah. And as friends, sometimes, you know, we think that as delivering a message to a friend, we got tough love. Sometimes tough love is needed, sometimes. But most of the time we can be gentle. You know, if the person receiving is open to the information, then okay, we can express, we can deliver information and it's received. And therefore it doesn't need to be tough.
Yeah.
But you know, when we have a friend who's a little hard-headed and we're the only person someone will listen to, you gotta You got to give a little east side jab.
Don't shank him.
No. This hurts me more than it hurts you. So, hey, Clean. So we have to be very kind with our delivery, and that's what friends do. We are deliverers of information on a secular and non-secular level. So we have to hold each other accountable. And I think the reason why I'm focusing on accountability in friendship, especially on a non-secular end, is because my mom's teacher mentioned something very beautiful. He said that the people, be kind and be loving to everybody, but remember that those people that you're with right now may be with you when you leave your body. And I remember thinking about my friend that passed, and I was right by her bedside. And friends do those things, those uncomfortable things for another friend. Friends pray for each other, you know. And so we have to also see if our friends' quality of prayer is like, what are you praying for? Are you just praying for stuff, or are you praying for like a deeper connection with the divine? Like, you know, are you, what is the quality? What is the essence of your spiritual life and your practice? And you're asking this as a friend, not as someone like nitpicking like that. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and something that you bring up so nicely, whenever we have our Wednesday meditations or Sundays, especially during the month of Damodar, Kartik, you always relate to everyone to when doing something, what are your intentions behind what you're doing? And so to have a certain intention, so whether in life, what are your intentions in life? What are your intentions in your relationships? Because otherwise life is simply shallow. If we don't have proper intentions, it's shallow. We're just basically going through the motion. And who wants a shallow life? Who wants to have shallow relationships? I think we've all have experienced shallow relationships and shallow interactions in life, and I'm sure deep down inside we don't value or appreciate them. And we find that we're not much invested at all in such relationships, because we know it's like when you buy something from the $1.25 tree. It used to be the Dollar Tree, now it's the $1.25 tree. You know, you're not investing much in that bucket because you're going to throw it away. You're not going to keep this forever. But if there's something that you're wanting to keep for an extended period of time, you invest more into it. So like a relationship, you will invest into something that is very dear and important to you, especially when you come correct, meaning when you come with the right intentions. Instead of preying on someone, praying for someone. You got that?
Yeah.
You know,
say it again.
So we're not here to prey on someone, meaning we're not using someone as a means to an end. We're not trying to exploit or take advantage of another person, but we pray for someone, meaning we need each other's blessings. And so I'm going to add this, I'm going to rewind it, because something that you mentioned is that sometimes, even in conversations, that in relationships, even if someone is not sharing something, right, but still letting the other person know, I'm here if you need me.
I felt
still being there, you know, because sometimes you'll come across certain individuals. I'm just saying, you never know where someone is, even mentally. I'm just saying, we just never always, know all the details. But that the other person knows that, hey, you know what? No worries. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'm right here. I'm ready when you're ready. So being invested in that way where we do not in one sense, you can say, turn our back or abandon someone, but that we always are there, available in that relationship. We're present, and that our intentions are, or shall I say, we're coming from a place of love. You know what I mean? Not a place of, let me see what I can, get out of this person today, but how can I actually serve or be of service? Or how can I be a good friend or even a better friend? And of course, to be invested in any, the relationship, whether it's friendships or a relationship, meaning, with spouse or so forth, or family or work or whatever it may be.
Clean mentioned something.
Cool.
She said, yes, not pray, but pray. Yeah. And she said the 313 jab.
Oh, the 31 third, baby.
So, but
313 jab. Oh, the twist, not the twist.
But yes, but to your point, like this, while it's on my mind, the idea of being someone's well-wisher, and you mentioned service. So in Sanskrit, that word's called seva. Hold on. Oh, Miguel wrote, this isn't you guys' subject. That let me hold off on that, and I'll come back to that. Let me finish this thought so I remember. So you mentioned word in Sanskrit for service is seva. And any theist will know that service to each other and to God ultimately is the highest form of as a well-wisher, or highest form of love.
To love is to serve, and to serve is to love.
And so this concept of service as a friend needs to be there.
Yes.
Like if there's no service in the friendship, then it's not a friendship. And if
business interaction, maybe, but not a friendship.
Yeah, if it's like I will do this for you if you do this for me.
That's a business contract.
We've unofficially signed a contract, and we're going to deliver the goods.
And if you don't hold up your end of the agreement, then contract terminated.
Yeah. But friendship is not like that in the sense where, if you don't do this, then this happens. Real friendship is in which it's free flowing.
Yes.
It's
dynamic.
It's dynamic. And there's a constant competition of let me serve you more. Because on the spiritual level, on a divine level, like this is what happens in the higher realms where the service is there, but it's a competing service out of love.
Yes.
Let me serve you better.
Yes.
And so this, even in the Bible, it says as above, so below. Yes. And so this idea, so we have to, if we're trying to prepare ourselves for that realm, we have to be able to serve each other better on this realm in a loving, non-duplicitous kind of way.
Yes.
And so friendship in this dynamic is meant to cultivate that kind of inherent position of loving interaction. Because as you mentioned, it's dynamic. It's variegated.
Yes. Yes.
And for those who think or believe, feel that there's something greater beyond this life, understand that in that realm, service is still there.
Yes. It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. It can't stop. It won't stop.
Won't stop.
So this concept continues even further, and even sweeter.
Yes, that's the other detail. It keeps getting better and better and better.
So as we work on ourselves and we work on our friendships, the dynamic should mirror or should slowly or gradually build up to that which is unadulterated love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it also means in some cases accepting other people's, hey, this is where they are. But I still love them and they still support me. They still allow me to be my best self.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what friendship is about, is allowing that person or encouraging that person to be their best self. I wanted to read something Miguel wrote. So Miguel wrote, "This isn't you guys, but the subject reminded me of the behavior patterns like failed self-caretaker, sacrificial identity, sacrificial rescuer, hunger to be chosen, or be a saint, compartmentalizing." Where did it go? It just disappeared.
Which way did it go?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, technology.
Compartmentalization of self-accountability and failed boundary cognizance. We sacrifice so much to be loved and recognized, while Krishna calls us to renounce the fruit of our actions. I was contemplating that as a sacrificial healer, I don't know the final result because... Because the end really never really comes. I can just know my intentions and guard the purity there. 12 Steps talks about taking. Anyway, we'll finish there. And then my sister wrote, "Some of the greatest leaders are often those who live and serve others." Martin Luther King Jr. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Miguel, for writing that. I wish technology was easier. I can read it
without it moving.
But as we were talking, is that this element of friendship is really at its highest level when we're serving in a capacity in which it's not a business transaction.
Right.
It's a soul transaction because it's happening on the molecular level.
On the molecular level. You getting it, East Side. You getting it.
313.
313. I'm on the West Side. He represents the East. So I'm going to tie in something a little bit from what Miguel was saying, if I'm understanding everything properly. I know it'll come very close to it. In such relationship as friendship, there is... and I mean friendship on the highest level, is that those individuals, one has to have a certain amount of courage. You could say bravery. You have to have a certain amount of strength and so forth to be willing to put yourself in a vulnerable position for there to be a level of intimacy that takes place. Now, I'm speaking on intimacy. Most people, when they hear the word intimacy, everyone's probably thinking one thing, something sexual. I'm not referring to that at all. I'm referring to this aspect of, because it ties in with revealing your heart and confidence, meaning you're coming as you are, in terms of you're not trying to put on a facade. You're not trying to pretend to be something that you're not. You're coming, this is where I am, this is who I am. I am sharing my heart in this way. And that's true in any relationship, honestly, where there has to be this level of vulnerability. And it means that, yes, there has to be, of course, you have to be brave to come to that point, but there has to be communication on such a level that there is trust. And of course, understanding that there's this sacred space where I know my hands are dry as all get out.
I
gotta hold myself accountable.
Hey,
I was slipping.
I was like, it's okay to slip one day.
But I'll get back to the grease, in a moment after this, after this session. But again, holding ourselves, or creating this space and acknowledging and valuing each other's voice, where this exchange, this beautiful exchange, is taking place, so that again that relationship and that interaction continues to grow. Because a lot of times, we as just human beings, spiritual beings having a human experience, we've been cheated and exploited and manipulated so many times. And there's so many people who says, I'm your best friend. Just, hey, I'm your good friend. You know what? I have an uncle in Nigeria. He wants to put about $1 million in your bank account. The thing is, I'm your best friend, right? So just give me your bank information. And he's going to put that $1 million in there, right? And he only just need $100 back.
He just needs $100 back.
But you can keep the rest.
He just needs it for the wire fee.
Just the wire fee. So, we friends, right? We can do that. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And so there's so many people who say that they are friends, but actually they're scam artists. And so it's very difficult to, again, have the courage enough to want to truly be friends with another person. Because we've been cheated and manipulated and exploited and taken advantage of so many times. Who wants to go through that pain and anguish and suffering again? It's not palatable at all. So, again, to really be a friend and to find someone that you can say, this is my good friend or my best friend or so, wow, it takes some courage to be able to step up to the plate again, to embark in that journey, because we don't know who is standing in front of us. And that's why those loving exchanges are so important. I'll just briefly recap: to give a gift and receive a gift, to cook food with love, like to give that food, and to receive food that's been cooked with love, and to reveal your heart and confidence, to seek advice. Because if we're not working on the relationship, it's not that one has to force something, like love should be organic, It's not that one needs to force it, but nevertheless, in any relationship, we must invest in it. And there has to be a sense of us, us versus the world, whatever it may be. But in terms of, again, friendships, we have to put some skin in the game. We have to invest. Because otherwise the other person may share something very important to us that could save our lives. But because that trust is not there, we're not going to take it seriously. Just like, you were mentioning a little earlier, and of course it's important how we deliver the message as well too. But yeah, we may not take the person serious, and we may think, oh, they're just talking out the side of their neck, when actually they were giving something very important to us that could have helped us, whether business-wise or relationships or, spiritual life or whatever it may be, So we have to invest, and we have to be willing to allow ourselves to, as Jim Rohn say, allow the world to touch us. We have to be willing to feel again and to experience that through vulnerability in the relationship. And to know that the other person's not going to exploit us.
Right. You mentioned a couple of things. One of the things about investment, and any seasoned investor looks at what they're investing, scrutinize it. Because if they're going to put their hard-earned money, which is their time, essentially, in something, they want the best return. So instead of just randomly or willy-nilly calling someone a friend, actually see what the qualities of the person are, if they are qualified to be under that umbrella of friendship. Because if you do not properly, as they say, hedge your bets, or and you just throw your money out like you're gambling, then you'll lose it. You'll be exploited. You'll be manipulated. And so the So even though I'm talking using example of finances and investment, but this is our time is an investment. Everything we do is an investment. So the friendships that we cultivate, we should have the same kind of watchful eye, the same kind of mindful, analytical mind around this friendship. Because if we do not, and we put somebody in a category in which they were never meant to be in, we're only hurting ourselves.
Yep. It's part of that cheating propensity, as you mentioned sometimes.
Yeah.
We cheat ourselves because we were too lazy to do the work, to really, pay attention and look at, okay, is this interaction or relationship worth the investment?
So the cheating propensity is understood, or at least in the yoga world, the yoga text, as there's 4 propensities of human society. The propensity to make a mistake, the propensity to be illusioned, the propensity to cheat or be cheated, whether that is if someone's cheating me or I'm even cheating myself.
Yes, that's a fact. And imperfect senses.
And imperfect senses.
And I think, just for my clarification, just make sure I'm not missing anything, is the illusion one tied in with forgetful? Is that...
Okay, yeah.
Because I've always heard it that way. Imperfect senses, we make mistakes, forgetful, and then cheating propensity.
Yeah.
Just double checking.
Yeah, so we have these things that are kind of baseline in this physical embodiment. And so when we are developing a friendship or thinking about a friendship, understand that we must, to the best of our ability, analyze and use what we have available to us to determine, like, is this the best place to invest my time, invest my energy? Because that person is supposed to be with you in all areas of your life.
To the end.
To the end.
Friend.
To the end. And so I think that the reason why I wanted this last series and friendship to be a little deeper is because we have to realize that this is not some concept which is not important. Like, this is a very important concept. Like, this has a lot of weight to it because our livelihood depends on our quality of friendship. Because when we're dealing with something terrible, we want a friend that we can depend on. We want that kind of ability to call someone up, say, hey, I'm really, this is going on. And we depend on that friend to give us sound advice.
Right.
Not, hey, this is happening, just go out, drink, smoke, do all these other things.
You'll be all right in the morning.
Be promiscuous. And that's not friendship.
No.
That's not friendship. That is...
That's a drug dealer.
That's a drug dealer.
You're pushing man.
You're pushing man. And so when we have these friends that are suggesting, here's what, so I won't share the name of the movie my wife and I were watching yesterday, but it was talking about how certain...
We all friends, don't mess with you. Go ahead.
It was talking about how toward the end of Tupac's life, he was trying to give up smoking weed, drinking, and his producer, Suge Knight, found out the quality of his music was getting ready to change. And so he would, so when Tupac came back to California, Suge Knight, as a friend, was like, hey, I got some weed for you. I got these women for you. I got this, all these forms of intoxication for you. And it was said that when, he was trying to separate himself from his lifestyles when he was ultimately taken away. But friendship means supporting someone in their journey for higher evolution or becoming a better human being.
Or you could say for gains and striations.
For gains and striations.
They're making progress in life. They're stepping up. They're graduating.
But friendship is meant to enthuse and encourage, support, and allow for that person or two people to feed off each other in a symbiotic way, and so that their connection can be perceived by others and encourage them in their relationship.
Yes.
Because this is how the energy of friendship works, is that if just like people can naturally see like we're like friends, like people know like you and I are friends, and they can perceive our energy or our mood here.
Right.
It's funny because oftentimes like I when someone's watching the video and they say like, you guys got chemistry, you guys are really good together. But friendship allows for that ability to happen.
Yes.
Where you all are practically in each other's heads.
Yeah.
Or
when we go to the store, like I go to Kilwins, and it's like, is that guy your brother? Oh, I saw your brother the other day. Because that's how close we are.
We'll have sometimes clients come in like, oh, you guys are brothers? But friendship is like that, where your ability to connect is so strong that other people perceive it.
Yeah.
And you all feel safe in that environment.
That sacred space.
Yeah.
That environment, definitely.
And I think that with the spiritual side of things, there's even more importance because, as I mentioned earlier, because this world is not our home, there's so many examples happening right now in the world that are terrible.
Yes.
And it's like, who wants to be a part of this? Who wants to call this place home?
Yeah.
This is a hostel.
The truck stop. It's a temporary stop,
and so the friend will allow you or remind you like, hey, let's pray together, or let's do this together. Let's invest in the spiritual side of life.
Exactly.
Yes, it's good to make money. Yes, it's good to have build a nice portfolio to support one's family or oneself. But that investment must also be on the non-secular end.
Exactly.
Because that and in that way, it will encourage others as well. In that, because when we see two friends making money, it's like, wow, I want to do what they do. But when we see two people spiritually growing together, evolving, their hearts softening even more so, you're like, I want that.
Yeah, and people feel it too.
People feel it.
They can perceive it, like you said.
And so this, am I going over? Oh, no, not yet.
Yeah.
So the beauty of both as we mentioned earlier, both the secular and non-secular aspect of friendship is that we become well balanced.
Exactly.
And so sometimes, I know it's maybe weird to some to hear, but sometimes if the friend is, and I think you may have even mentioned in the beginning of the session, but if a friend is too far into spirituality and neglecting their physical life, their personal life, it's like, hey, you gotta bring that back in.
You gotta balance that mess out.
You know, and this idea is that yes, it's good to have higher aspirations, higher thoughts on the spiritual level, but it shouldn't mean neglect your family. It shouldn't mean neglect your friendships. It shouldn't mean neglect your own self, because this is a vessel in which so many things can be done. So many things of benefit can be done for ourselves and others. So if we're neglecting to sustain this body, if we're neglecting to sustain the family, and we're thinking, well, I'll just be in church, I'll just be in a temple, I'll just be in a mosque, I'll just be, on pilgrimages and neglect all that, then actually we're being selfish. We're not properly. We are not properly looking at our responsibility, and it's sometimes called spiritual bypassing, in the way in which one is neglecting this vessel, this gift, and just going all the way in and not being, what does they say, so spiritually minded that you know worldly good. I think that's there was a saying like that. And so there should be balance, I guess, is what the bottom line is. And so with this idea of friendship, it has to be a holistic, has to be a well-rounded experience. And we should know how to pick our friends, how to be a better friend, and just create a relationship or cultivate a relationship in which the friendship is ever increasing.
Of course.
Because this is what we really want in this world, is things to increase when it comes to that which is good, or that which is pleasing to the heart.
Yes.
Nobody ever says, I want my debt to increase. Nobody, I want my problems to increase. No, we want our money to increase. We want our friendships to increase. We want our happiness to increase.
Exactly.
And so, because this is what we inherently desire, this desire supersedes this realm and is our eternal right to be happy, to be to increase abundance. A lot of times you'll hear, and so this starts with this realm, with our friendship, our ability to serve each other.
Yeah. Because again, it should mirror that which happens above. As we even say in the Our Father, to perform the will of God on earth as it is in heaven. That's where all relationships are stemming from anyway, in that spiritual or transcendental realm. Just to begin with, we just happen to be here on this earthly or material realm, and we're simply just trying to get back home, as you had rightly pointed out early on. As you were speaking, I was thinking about geology. Now, someone may say, well, why are you thinking about geology in the middle of a conversation with friends? But I was thinking of geology because as a geologist, and focusing specifically on mineralogy, is that you'll have two minerals of very similar hardness. And so when you place those two minerals in a rock tumbler, they actually polish each other. Just like we hear the saying, steel sharpens steel. And so when we are picking our friends, that's why we here make friends with peers. Someone that would be similar in one shape or form, not exact robot of yours or a carbon copy of yourself. They have their own unique personality and so forth, but come together in such a way where you actually are polishing each other in each passing and each interaction, so that both minerals are shining forth or putting forth their very best, so that one can actually appreciate and value all of the beautiful facets, the beautiful characteristics. And even if one may have inclusions, someone may consider a certain inclusion to be imperfections, even those as being, as they say en français, marque de beauté. Like a beauty mark, Like, for example, there's things such as a rutilated quartz. Now, rutil is another mineral. It's a titanium oxide. And then you'll find that within a quartz mineral, many of us know or may be familiar with quartz. We hear quartz most of the time, right? But to see one that's rutilated, you'll see like these little golden colored hairs inside of it. And it just gives it like this uniqueness to it. It's like, that's usually most likely a rutilated quartz. It has rutil, titanium oxide inside of it. Or it may have water inclusions, and then those water inclusions are basically little pockets of water that got trapped inside that mineral as it was cooling and hardening in its crystalline, in its beautiful crystalline shape, So I'm mentioning this because, again, when two individuals are working on a friendship, that they in fact polish each other, and they do not, like, one mineral is not putting the other mineral down or not trying to outshine the other mineral, but that they both complement and enhance each other's, we'll use the word enhance each other's, unique qualities and beauty and so forth like that. And that's why I was thinking of geology when we were, again, in this conversation of friends, because of that nature.
Thank you. Remind me, because there's an example of a train I'll mention, but I'm going to read these couple comments.
Okay.
So Miguel wrote, Salman al-Farsi once said, your Lord has a right on you, and your soul has a right on you, and your family has a right on you, so you should give rights to all those who have a right on you. That's very beautiful.
That's right.
And I think, I know Clean says iron sharpens iron. Yeah. So the train example, I remember hearing a class, and we'll wrap up here. There was a class I remember listening to, and it gave the analogy of life as like a train.
Okay.
And so in the front of the train, you have the engine, in the middle of the train, you have the cars, and in the back, you have the remaining cars or some type of stuff being carried.
Right.
And it said that in life, these can be looked at as different relationships, and the front of the cart, the train, are those people that pull you, that encourage you. Those can be your mentors. Those can be your spiritual guides, your secular mentors. Those people pull you forward. And then you have the middle cart, which are friends that you are, like those are people are just like you, and you all are together, supporting each other.
Right.
And then you have the end carts. Those are the people that look up to you, that you're help pull them forward.
Right.
And so when I heard this, I was like, wow, this is really beautiful concept, because in life we need those individuals that we look up to, and then we also have those friends that allow us to feel seen, to feel heard, and that we can mutually support.
Right.
And then we have people that we know they can't really do anything for us, but our position in their life is to serve them.
Yes.
Also.
Yes.
And so in friendship, the better our internal environment is, and the deeper connections we make with other friends, the easier it is to also bring people that may not be to that level of understanding or knowledge or whatever, bring them forward in their evolutionary human experience in this life, so that we can be of support to them.
Right.
And so anyway.
The sound of the police.
So anyway, thank you all so much for being present and just leaving comments and hearts and loves. Please, if this was somewhat helpful, please share this. And next week we'll be back with a new topic. And if there's a flex that you all want us to dive deeper on, something that we've talked about in the past, or things you want us to talk about in the future, let us know, and we can go deep into that. So, any words from our sponsors?
I would say live responsibly, live with intention. Think about how just as individuals, our thoughts, speech, and deeds or actions, how they may affect others in relationships, especially if we're working on relationships and trying to go deeper in those relationships. So again, live with intention and live with meaning, live with purpose. So live responsibly.
All right.
And stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. And
keep flexing.
flex. All right.
Oh, wait, before we go, this dude's socks match his shoes. Look at that, man.
you
That
see
boy
you
be
see this
matching.
action?
Color
You
coordinated.
see
Look at
this
that.
action?
Yeah, that's
It's all right. You gotta have friends like that.